A trip down the M1 to Coventry on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and obviously the logistics of the travel is part of the difficulty of the day. But we've sorted out our food arrangements, hydration strategy, and obviously we're setting off at the appropriate time so that we're there in plenty of time, so that we can mobilise the players, so that come 3 o'clock they should be ready to play. So yeah, it's a challenge, but we're getting better at handling the travelling logistics every time we have these long journeys.
Is that something that has come as a surprise to you? Is it tougher than expected, factoring in these long journeys?
It is, yes. Yeah, it is, especially in weather like this as well. So yes, it is, and it's something we've had to come to terms with and had to learn from. You know, previously I've just known a trip or two to Cumbria, or one to Cumbria and one to London, but it's a pretty regular thing in League One. So yeah, it's a factor that you've really got to learn how to cope with and adjust to.
How do you think that affects the players mentally, John?
Well, again, I think they're coming to terms with it really well. I think the first time we did it at Workington, perhaps our mental preparation wasn't the best, and I think it showed. We certainly got better at Hemel, we got even better at Whitehaven, so hopefully by Coventry we'll have nailed it, so that when we do the West Wales one, you know, we've really got it sorted as well, because every 2 points is important on the league ladder, but obviously every for and against is important as well on that score sheet.
What can we expect from the playing side on Saturday, John? Obviously there's an injury to Lee Smith. I believe Ross Oakes is potentially going to get a shout. Yeah,
well, Ross is named in the squad, and obviously he's a specialist left centre, so it very much will be like for like. And you know, when I came here, both Mark Dunning and Lee Beattie, who were my assistants, they both sang Ross's praises greatly, and I'm hoping to see the reasons why when he gets that shot down at Coventry on Saturday, and hopefully then he poses me a problem, so that when Lee Smith is ready to come back into the side, I'm scratching my head thinking, well, can I get him in? And that's a problem that I would welcome.
Is there going to be any other noticeable changes for Saturday?
There might be one or two who are rested and so on. I think Matty Garside will certainly be one who's sat on the sideline, because Matty's put a lot of 80-minute work shifts in, and by his very nature and the very way he plays the game, it's high octane stuff. He does lots of carries, and the very aggressive confrontational carries, and he does lots of defensive work as well. So sometimes players just need sitting out for a game and just saying, look, get your feet up and get yourself ready for the week after, and that, I feel, will be what we're doing with Matt Garside.
Rhys Butterworth obviously has been called back from the Batley Bulldogs, and he's going to feature in the under-19s this evening against Huddersfield. Yeah,
I'm hoping to see some sort of progress, you know, because obviously he's been playing in the Championship, which is a high level of rugby league, and he's played against some very tough opposition with a team that's been struck by injuries. So he's played half-back, he's played a fair few minutes at hooker, and he's acquitted himself well. So I'm hoping that we'll see further improvement in Rhys from that spell at Batley, and you know, the proof of the pudding will be when he runs out at Lockwood Park on Thursday evening.
And of course George Flanagan, good news, John, in that the pot's off, and how close is George going to be to?
Well, he told me we're all right this week, but he's not going to play this week, I can tell you that. So yeah, I mean, George will be, he's hoping to feature the week after, but we'll make sure we've done the correct return to play protocol with regard to what we should do with mobilising his hands, strengthening his arm muscles, etc. So we'll make sure it's all done. But if we were left to George, he'd just taken the pot off and played, but we've got to look after him.
And a question that I was asked on Sunday, John, Anthony Bowman, of course. What's the current status on Anthony?
Well, Anthony came back from Australia, and we sorted out a trial with him for a month. But then he obviously, when he come back from Australia, he didn't have a job, and obviously he's got to live. So he looked around for a job, and the job that is obtained, it just clashes with training. So, you know, I thanked him for his interest, he thanked me for my interest, and we've just gone our separate ways. And it's just one of those things that you get sometimes with part-time players.
Is he a player that you would have really liked to hear at the balls?
I'd have liked to seen him because he showed great potential before he jetted off to Australia, and you know, I'd have liked to see if we could work well and develop him and improve him, and if he could add something to the team. But that opportunity isn't going to be there because obviously his personal circumstances in his work life won't allow it.
What threats are Coventry going to pose on Saturday, John?
Well, they've got a really good kicking game in Paul Emanuele. I mean, he can kick a ball miles. He's an ex-rugby union fly half, so he can put the ball a long way. Youngstead as well, his half-back partner, he played very well here as well. They've got a fair few England university players who've got some talent, and up front they've got James Gertrude, there's the Vitellini, and they've a couple of Hull Kingston Rovers players on loan who actually played in our reserves previously. So they've got some good players. They're very well coached. I'm really impressed with Tom Sang, their coach, because the structures are good and they come out and try and play football. So we know it'll be a tough afternoon, but hopefully, should we get down there in the right frame of mind, we're hoping it'll be a successful afternoon for Bradford Bulls.
And I think it's credit to Coventry, John, that they've not just gone down the northern route, and they're actually trying to develop players from the Midlands, the East Midlands.
It is credit to them, yeah. I think they're doing it the right way. And you can also see the reason behind this dual reg with Hull Kingston Rovers, because Hull Kear have got a big squad. You know, they can't keep everybody playing at Hull Kingston Rovers, and it's even so big that they can cater for York as part of the dual registration as well as Coventry. And as I say, I can understand that, because that bit of experience and that bit where you've got players who've, you know, genuine rugby league players who've been a bit round the block, they add a lot of steel and know-how to a team, so I can understand why they've done that. But as you've rightly said, Mick, they are doing things the right way, and you know, I have a lot of time for the club and the coach, but obviously we've got a job to do, and we'll try and do a number on them on Saturday. And
just finally, John, once again, as we're seeing with numerous clubs in League One, they're not just seeing it as Coventry v Bradford as a game, they're making it into a real event. There's going to be some primary school children on the field from 11 o'clock. They're expecting another Betfred League One record crowd with the Bulls fans coming down the M1. It's going to be another great occasion, and looking at the weather forecast, 27 degrees, wow, it don't get any better.
No, and it's something I'm really proud of. You know, I mean, you don't realise it when you start off on this campaign, but the more records you break, whether it's playing records or crowd records, the more proud you are of the players and of the club, and obviously of the fans when it's crowd records that we're breaking. And I think it'd be marvellous. You know, I can see that when we've put our feet up at the end of the season, we'll look back and there'll certainly be new records, I would say, for more than half of the League One clubs. Well, that's something that we as a club should be very, very proud of it, and the fans as a group of people should be as well, because not only are they supporting their club, they're also supporting the game in general by going there and putting, you know, much needed coffers behind the sort of counter for them.